Hey guys, this is Dave here with PFS Outdoors. We are back again at Camp Hero. We were here just a few weeks ago with the October Youth Hunt. It was a pretty cool event. I believe they do it every year. Good buddy of mine here, Rocco. He's the owner, founder of Camp Hero. But we're going to do a quick interview today. He's a former law enforcement officer and injured in the line of duty. So we're going to kind of hear his story today and what led him to Camp Hero and what we're doing sitting here talking to you today. So Rocco, you started off in the military, right?
I went in the Navy after I graduated high school. Went to high school there at Bullitt East, so I grew up in Bullitt County from the time I was 10 on. And after I graduated high school, I went to Navy basic training a month later. I went in as an electronic warfare technician, which we intercepted radar communications and stuff like that, and also dealt with a lot with intel. And I did that for a little over 4 years before I became disabled and was medically retired from the Navy. So I went in June of 97 and got out August of 2001. After my medical retirement, I came out and I did contractor security at Fort Knox for several years.
You said you was at Fort Knox for several years, and then when did you get into law enforcement then?
While I was working the gates there at Fort Knox, we worked a lot hand in hand with the MPs there and did a lot of their policing and stuff there. And then after I left Fort Knox, I ended up doing I was a supervisor for loss prevention for Kroger there in Shepherdsville. So I got to know a lot of the police officers and dealt a lot with, after I caught shoplifters and, dealing with that, going to court and testifying at court. And the Shepherdsville Police Department ended up having an opening for new recruits. So in testing, and they're accepting applications in 2009, beginning of 2009. So I went ahead and applied there, and I ended up getting hired on and started the academy in August of 2009.
So what, you just kind of working through loss prevention and you just felt like that's your calling? Like, will you just...
Yeah, and a lot of it with policing.
What kind of drew you to it, I guess, so to say?
I guess, I really enjoyed the military, really enjoyed the structure, like the organization part of it, easy rank and file, and I just like also the service part of it, where you're actually part of something bigger.
Right, serving the community other than just...
Yeah, exactly. Instead of, I wasn't one on a 9-to-5 job. That's
right.
I'm sitting in a cubicle, something like that. It wasn't for me. That's why all the jobs that I worked, even after the Navy, they weren't regular jobs. Regular hours, regular jobs.
Right.
There was always something,
kept your adrenaline going too a little bit,
yeah.
Investigative kind of stuff,
yeah,
so to say.
And every day was different. So, and that's another part, why I really enjoyed getting into the policing, and I was always very proactive.
Yeah, I'm current law enforcement still, and I remember when I would be on a lot of calls with you, and I learned a lot from you, and I enjoyed it, and I've taken a lot of those techniques to this day, and I'm still putting them to practice. So when you became a law enforcement officer, what kind of defined you? What did you like? Did you do like investigative stuff, more detecting on things, or I know when I was with you, you did a lot of drugs and interdiction stuff. But.
Yeah, I really enjoyed. On one hand, I enjoyed being a part of the community and working with the kids there, because there was a lot of kids in the same areas where we dealt with a lot of the drugs.
Right.
And those kids really didn't have a choice.
Victim of the circumstance.
Exactly, what they're dealing with. So I always made it a point when I was there working to interact with the kids, became friends with them, gave them stickers, played football, basketball and stuff with them. Mm-hmm. And I also saw the impact of drugs on their lives. So I made it a point to really investigate the drugs and drug dealing. And I loved the investigation part of these drug cases where you start off with a simple possession and you just make your way, keep investigating while you're, talking to them, getting search warrants for their phones, and then just, building that case and till you can eventually catch the drug dealer.
Right. Work your way up the ladder. So
exactly.
Gotcha. Well, that's kind of my forte. Like I said, I learned a lot from you on them stops and just working. Every time you stop somebody, I knew they start heading your way for the most part. Yeah. So, obviously you did very well at it, because when I first started policing, I was a sheriff deputy at Bullitt County Sheriff's Office, working at the courthouse doing transport on the inmates, and I don't know how many times I'd have a 15-passenger van and probably 10 of them were locked up by Rocco. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
could hear them in the back talking, saying, "Who got you?" And they all say, "Rocco, Rocco, Rocco." So I was like, well, that's kind of cool. I kind of want to do that. So
Yeah.
I showed some interest and managed to make myself get to go through the academy and still currently doing it. So I thought it was pretty cool, and I appreciate that. So you got pretty good at it. What happened to that happened
Well,
to you one night that kind of
yeah.
unfortunately
On July 3rd, 2016, I was doing, I was at a drug hotspot that I know it had a lot of drugs coming in and out, and saw a vehicle leave those apartments. And when I ran the plates, it showed that the driver and operator had a suspended license. They pulled into the gas station there, Circle K and 44 West, and I pulled in behind her. And before I got to finish running her, she had already gotten out of her vehicle, so I went ahead and approached her. I told her, the reason I stopped you, you had a suspended license. I asked her for insurance. She couldn't provide insurance. Passenger also didn't have a valid license. At that time, I already had backup units en route because they knew if I was going to stop someone, it's probably going to be getting into something. So when the backup unit arrived, I went ahead and went back to my car to finish running them. And come to find out, she had several felony warrants for fleeing from police, burglaries, assault on a police officer, and also for running over her boyfriend and another guy. And so I went ahead and went back to the car, went to go ahead and have her step out of the car. But prior to me getting back to the car, the other officer had her put her keys on top of her car because she was just acting shady. And when I ended up going back to her car and told her to step out, I opened up the door and she grabbed the keys and put it in the ignition. And I reached in there and tried to get the keys before she got in the ignition, but she'd already gotten it started, and I was stuck between the steering wheel and her body with the door open, and she floored it and dragged me about 60 feet, made a right-hand turn, and I came out of her door, rolled, hit the curb with my neck, and she ran over my leg. With my adrenaline, I jumped back up and ran back to my car to go after her because I was
right.
mad because she was getting away. And it was dark and raining out. It was almost midnight. And she took off without any lights. I tried to get in behind her, but I didn't see her. She pulled in behind the VFW there and ditched the car. So I kept going down 44 West. About a mile and a half down the road, my neck and back started tightening up, so I pulled over. Had EMS come get me and taking me to U of L to get checked out. Of course, they put a BOLO, attempt to locate, and everything out for her to all the agencies, surrounding agencies. Actually, on my way to the hospital, my buddy, Trooper Borders, texted me and he said he'll make sure he found her.
Right.
And so went to the hospital. They come to the conclusion, since there wasn't any bones broken or anything like that, or internal bleeding, that they believed it was just a neck and back strain. Told me to report to the workers' comp doctor that week. And so that's what I did. Told me to take the rest of that week off. Reported to the work comp doctor. And in the meantime, within, I think it was a day and a half, Trooper Borders had found both occupants of the vehicle. They had
Nice.
stolen another car and taken it to Louisville. And he found them at Louisville, ended up pinging her phone and finding her in an apartment, hiding in a closet.
Nice. So I'm assuming the trooper took out the warrants and everything for her at that point.
Yeah,
On
well,
your,
actually, I think our detectives took out the warrants
okay.
for her, and so he went and served them, and then charged them with other, resisting arrest, assault, and everything else because they didn't come out of the closet willingly.
Right.
But I started physical therapy. I went back to work the next week, and after about a month of physical therapy, my neck just started hurting more and more as the muscles started relaxing more and more. And so they did a MRI and found I had 4 herniated discs in my neck, and they told me,
Wow.
I shouldn't be working. So they put me off work. Ended up going to a neurosurgeon because the physical therapy wasn't helping at all.
Mm-hmm.
And neurosurgeon did a fusion and took out one of the discs, the worst one. And after that, it still wasn't getting better. So they told me I had to put in for a medical retirement. During this time, we're going through the court process, and they set a trial date of of that next April.
Mm-hmm.
She decided she wanted a trial by judge instead of trial by jury, which
That's not smart.
yeah, that's no. And so Judge Burris, that's what they wanted. So
Right, that's what they got.
Judge Burris, after testimony, and she even testified in court that when I pulled in behind her, she knew she had warrants and had already made the decision that she'd do anything she could not to go to jail that day.
Mm-hmm.
So she pretty much, even if I would have died, she wouldn't have cared,
Right.
because she didn't want to go to jail that
The
day.
criminals, they have that mindset that we don't know, obviously, because we can't read minds. So
Yeah, I had no
all we
idea.
can be is reactive to their actions.
And so she ended up, she got found guilty, and my retirement date was set already for May 31st is my last day as a police officer, and that's actually where they sent her sentencing date. So we went to court, and she was sentenced to 40 years in prison. And because she was a persistent felony offender, she was 32 years old and had spent 14 years of her adult life in pretty much locked up.
Wow.
And it's not because that was her sentence. She had gotten many, many chances. She'd gotten probation, violated probation,
In and out.
and over and over for all these other cases, felony cases.
Right.
And a lot of them were violent felony cases. So they made her a persistent felony offender, and she has to serve 20 before she's eligible for parole.
Mm-hmm.
However, I ended up retiring. That was the last day of my police career, and all this leading up to it, as police officers and first responders, so we see a lot of bad stuff,
Right.
throughout our career, and we learn how to compartmentalize and just put it back,
Exactly.
as it's just part of work, and,
Box it up.
Yep. And then when I found out that I was hurt bad enough that I was forced to retire and I had to give up a career that I loved, that's when everything come to a head. All the boxes opened up and everything just flooded.
Right.
And because I'm so used to, you get hurt and then you get better, you heal up from it. But with spinal injuries, you don't get better from spinal injuries.
Right.
So, I dealt with a lot of depression issues, all the PTSD
That's
and
what I was gonna
anxiety.
say. It attacks
came
you
up.
mentally as well.
Yeah, and then with the physical, it's directly linked to mental and emotional too. So when you have a bad pain day, everything else comes to head.
Right.
So there was times where I became suicidal. I was looking up ways to try to kill myself to where my kids would still get their life insurance. And I mean, finally I realized I can't be doing this. I need to get help. And I ended up finding a therapist and a psych doctor, and started therapy and put on antidepressants, and it helped learning why I was feeling the way I was, and a lot of it was I felt like I lost my identity,
Right.
and I'm trying to mourn who I used to be,
Right,
because
and
I
find your
wasn't
new you.
I wasn't that person anymore,
Right.
know. And
Because when you're an officer, it's kind of in you. We bleed blue, so to say.
yeah, that's your person. That's not your job. That's your identity.
Right.
And through this recovery process, I tried to look for organizations that helped wounded officers, and there wasn't any. I mean, there was literally almost nothing for wounded officers, and one of the only places actually happened to be here in Kentucky was Kentucky Wounded Heroes. And they host wounded veterans and wounded first responders for outdoor getaways and stuff. So I signed up for a deer hunt, and being on that deer hunt with a bunch of other disabled vets and first responders felt like I was part of something again. I was
Right.
able to talk to them, and they understood where I was coming from.
Had the same thinking.
Yeah, and I got back in the outdoors again,
Right.
which being in the outdoors is therapeutic as it is.
Very, very.
So after one event as a participant, I became volunteer staff there for Kentucky Wounded Heroes, and I was bringing in wounded officers from all over the country to participate in events here in Kentucky.
Right.
And in 2019, I was able to purchase this property, this cabin with 160 acres, and that next month I started Camp Hero, because I wanted to be able to host wounded vets and first responders, for outdoor getaways, and and continue serving, feel like I had a purpose
Right.
again.
Right. Well, it's a beautiful piece of land too. The Lord blessed you with that for sure. So you definitely do a good thing. And like you stated, not just being first responders. It's not always a physical hurt.
Yeah.
A lot of times, it's a mental thing, and just trying to combat mentally.
Yeah.
Because I know myself, I've been policing for about 8 years now, and at some point in time, we all, like you said, we've seen a lot of bad things out there.
Yeah. And most of the time when we're called, it's usually on the worst day of people's lives.
Exactly. We see people in their worst moments, in the worst of every situation. I mean, your average everyday person doesn't know what it's like to go knock on a door at 3 a.m. and do a death notification from a very gruesome, fatal accident you just got done working. So it does take a toll on your body. It takes a toll on your mind. It takes a toll on your family, your wife and kids, and whatnot. So.
And that's one of the things is there's a lack. Well, for the longest time, mental illness and mental issues for first responders is such a big stigma because a lot of people, they don't want to talk about it because they're afraid if they report it to their agency, they'll lose their badge, they'll lose their job, everything else.
Right.
They'll be found not fit. And,
or you just look weak. If you're a guy, you
yeah.
want to be strong and tough, you want to.
And the thing is, there's really nothing out there for, mental health for first responders. Like last year, more police officers committed suicide than were killed in the line of duty. And that's in every first
Across
responder
the state.
profession. I mean, that's across the nation.
Yeah.
So one of the things is we're starting new in 2022 is first responder nature immersion mental health program. And we teamed up with the Kentucky State EMS Board, and I'm friends with the executive director of the state EMS, and also with Craig Caudell, who runs Nature Immersion. He teaches survival, and wildlife stuff. And
Right.
We're going to have a regular program here at Camp Hero, and we're going to be teaming up with the KSP, all the chiefs in the state, FOP, and everything else, where we're going to have regular getaways of up to 15 people at a time consistently
throughout the year.
Yep. So they can just come out here, hang out. They can hike, they can fish, they can do whatever they want. They're going to teach land navigation,
Right.
Teach all kinds of stuff. I'm going to end up having archery ranges out here, gun range, axe throwing.
Yeah.
Just so they
Really
can get
cool.
out and be in the outdoors, be around a bunch of other people that are like them. And, they don't have to be through, specific incidents, but all first responders are been through traumatic incidents.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone needs a break, and just being out here and being able to
And most
recharge.
of us work 12 hours at a time too.
Yeah. And we're also going to work with state legislator where we're going to make it to where you can come down here and enjoy this program and actually be able to use a sick day or a personal day. So you don't have to come here on your own time.
On your off day or something.
Your off day, or have to take your own vacation time or whatever.
Right.
That they can actually sign up through this program, which will be certified through the state as a valid form of treatment. Because if you're hurt physically, you get time off.
Right.
If you're sick physically, you get time off. But if you need that time,
the mental checkout
day, you can't really get it.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
And there's been all kinds of studies by different organizations, different schools that show being in nature completely changes your brain chemistry. I mean, it'll completely assist in depression, PTSD, anxiety.
Outside of being actually medicated, being outdoors and being able to speak with others and put your feelings out there, so to say.
And a lot of people, they don't want to go talk to a therapist. They don't want to go sit in a room and talk to someone. If you tell them, hey, you go out there, just check out, and take it easy, have a day off, and have fun out there in nature.
Right.
They're actually getting out here getting, what I call outdoor therapy, and without actually being, sitting there talking to someone that they don't know.
Right.
So,
well, before I forget, just in case we forget later, we're at Camp Hero. Where actually is Camp Hero?
Camp Hero is in Jackson County, Kentucky. We are about 55 miles southeast of Lexington.
Okay.
And we have about 160 acres that we own, and at least another 1,700 acres, and it's throughout the whole county. So I have access to close to almost 2,000 acres, plus we're surrounded by tens of thousands of acres of national forest.
Right.
So you can't get much nature, much more nature than this.
Right.
And if anyone wants to come out here, first responder, veteran, just to get out, it doesn't cost a dime.
Right.
It costs nothing. All of our funding comes from donations and sponsors, and we charge nothing. We provide food, we provide lodging, we provide entertainment or whatever.
Right.
And it doesn't cost a dime to come out here.
Okay. Well, here in a minute, I want to have you take us to one of your favorite hunting spots right here on Camp Hero, and we'll do more interviewing here about the future of Camp Hero. But before we get to that point, what just two things real quick. What do you probably miss the most about policing that you can't, that you're...
One of the biggest things I miss about policing is, what I originally missed was the brotherhood and the camaraderie,
Right.
that of the people you worked with. I've later found that in people that are in my situation who are out of it, that are wounded or whatever. But I miss that, and I miss being able to go out and just talk to people.
Yeah, just interact with the community.
Interact with the community, and have that rapport with the community where we get to go out there and talk to them. But
so, and then lastly, what's for any officer or first responder that may watch this in the future, this video here, what's a quick tip that you'd probably like to give any first responder, fire, EMS, police, just to keep them trucking along in their career, so to say?
Now that I've been through it, take care of your mental health, and don't be afraid to reach out if you need help.
Right.
You don't have to reach out to your agency. There's plenty of people that can reach out to. You can even reach out to me.
Keep it confidential.
And I can point you to, some awesome people who do the EMDR and different therapy and stuff like that.
Okay.
And or point you in the right direction, to get any kind of help you need.
Right. Because you can be physically fit, working out at the gym every day, but if your mental health is not there, bad decisions can be made. So.
Yep.
But, so, all right. Well, we're gonna take a break. We're gonna get on the ATV. We're gonna go up the hill here behind this log cabin. Which log cabin was built? 1800 something like that. 1860. So this is a pretty cool little log cabin. We'll pan back here in a minute and get you some footage. Well, we're gonna go up in the woods, talk about the future of Camp Hero and how you can help donate towards Camp Hero if you choose to. All right, guys, we're back here at the deer stand behind us. As you can see, there's a really cool, about a 20, 30 foot up rock bluff. He's got him a perfect little box blind up there with about a 32-yard shot to the feeder there. That's behind the camera and our trail camera there. So this is one of your favorite spots. You thought, you're like, hey, this has got to be a good spot.
Yeah, it's there's a great intersection of trails here. A small field, which is just overgrown field now, but it's a big travel corridor going through here. And as soon as I came up here and I saw that rock bluff, I knew that I had to put a stand up there. Natural elevated platform.
You got the water source right here.
Yep.
So
yeah, water there, food, and all kinds of thicket all around and behind it for bedding. And it's just a perfect, travel corridor for deer.
Look at a killer spot. So have you had any kills out of this stand yet?
Yeah, I've actually had a kid kill his first archery deer last year. Killed a doe.
Awesome.
Out of there with his bow. So he was.
That's a good accomplishment, getting your first deer, especially with the archery as a juvenile.
Yeah, definitely.
As a kid. So awesome. So about Camp Hero, what is the purpose of Camp Hero? We talked about your military and your policing career down at the cabin. So what's the purpose of Camp Hero? Who's it geared towards, and what do you intend to accomplish?
Our purpose for Camp Hero is to provide outdoor healing opportunities for veterans and first responders, and also do mentorship to youth. So we target mostly veterans, first responders, which you don't have to be injured to. Not all injuries are visible.
Right.
And being in the outdoors, being out here in nature is naturally therapeutic. And that's why we host the veterans first responders out here, to be able to come out here in nature, come out here in the middle of the woods, be able to relax, decompress, and get their mind off of everyday life in the real world, while also being around people that are just like them, to fellowship and create bonds with, and
camaraderie.
And hopefully have lifelong mentors and peers
right.
that they can talk to, and friends
I know when we came down for the youth hunt a couple weeks ago, we met some folks from Florida. So you've had them from all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
And they seem to be some really good folks. We've kept in touch.
Oh yeah, yeah. We'll take it's not we're not just limited to Kentucky. We want to help anyone who really needs it.
Come from any state, anywhere.
Yep. I've had a Chicago police officer just get a hold of me and say, "Hey, I need to get away. Can I use your cabin?" And it doesn't cost a thing. You know, I said, "Yeah, come on down." Him and his wife came and stayed for 4 days, and just to be able to relax and get away and decompress. And that's what I enjoy about this. You know, I tell people it's an open door policy. As long as I don't have something going on, more than welcome to come down here, enjoy the outdoors, decompress, and heal out here.
Get away from the hustle and bustle of the city.
Exactly. And when I bought this place, I knew it was something special, and I wanted to be able to share it with others. I mean, I felt how it helped me, and I want to be able to share it with others that really needed it.
And help get kids started on the right track as well.
Exactly.
Keep them,
exactly.
Give them something to look forward to and look forward to do instead of out here starting a criminal rap at a very young age, you know.
Yeah.
So, and out here, obviously, there's no airports close by, so there's no planes flying low. I don't hear any trains. I don't hear the interstate. I don't hear horns honking. All I hear is dogs barking and the leaves rustling right now a little bit. So it's a peaceful, awesome, pretty cool place. So when you have some out here, how many can you normally accommodate, and roughly how many? I know you're volunteer-based, non-paid volunteers. So how many volunteers roughly do you have helping you out right now?
Okay. And we can accommodate. During the youth hunt, we accommodated 12 hunters, and including parents and everything, we probably had about 30 people here.
Yeah, that's quite a bit.
And you know, we're actually anticipating on building more cabins too to be able to accommodate. You know, the most is like lodging. If you have no problem with primitive camping, setting up a tent, I mean, there's plenty of room for that.
Yeah.
Plus, you know, I got a washer and dryer, hot shower, and everything in the cabin.
And you accommodate food.
Yeah,
right?
Food. I make sure everyone's fed. We cook, you know, good food out there. Make sure everyone eats good.
I know for the youth hunt, we had some of them turkey bites. Y'all deep fried some turkey, and you was it a brisket or something?
Yeah,
you smoked up.
Smoked a brisket, smoked pork butts.
Yeah, some killer food.
And what was the next thing?
I was talking about accommodations, which we talked about that. We can edit this part.
Volunteers.
The volunteers, yeah. So you.
Yeah, we have right now. I think we have about 15 volunteers on staff, and those volunteers, you know, they're not always here during like the events, but they help with, you know, putting up tree stands, putting out corn, scouting, clearing trails for people. A lot of the behind the scenes work to make sure that when people do come here, they have the best experience possible.
Right.
And that's what my thing is I'm not really wanting to grow big, but I just want to make sure all the experiences keep getting better and better and better for people.
Right. So I know obviously us with PFS, we support you. We've come out here and helped. We're going to hopefully continue to do some filming for you guys, and that way folks can go onto the YouTube channel and watch their hunts and their harvest and the campfire talks and all that cool stuff. If somebody wanted to donate, how can they donate towards Camp Hero? How can they get a hold of you?
If you want to learn more about Camp Hero and also donate, you can go to campheroky.org. That's our website. You can go on there. It'll have past events, you know, pictures from our different hunts and different events, and also things where we're in the news. Like, we don't just strictly do stuff here. When we find a place that something needs to be done, we take care of it. There was, I think it was 11,000 bottles of water that needed to be delivered from a water place here, and it needed to be delivered to Eastern Kentucky where they had flooding. We couldn't, there was some people who posted, you know, anyone can help us get this water out there. Someone tagged Camp Hero. So we were able to get a box truck and we hauled it out there.
I remember seeing that on Facebook.
Yeah. We make stuff happen. There was a Korean War vet who needed his house remodeled. We made that happen.
Right.
So it was safer and, you know, easier for him. But if you go on our website and you'd like to support and donate, you can scroll down and there's a spot on there where you can donate. You can donate once, or you can click it to where it has a monthly donation. Like you said, we're all volunteer. So all of our funding goes directly towards our programs and supporting our programs. Nobody makes money. All of our staff, everyone is all volunteer. So in order to make this better and make it a better experience for people, you know, we just have to, you know, keep a steady donations
coming
and,
in.
Coming in, yep.
So say a small box store. I know. I think I seen you on Facebook once. What, 2 years ago maybe? Cabela's made a huge contribution to Camp Hero via supplies and equipment as far as trail cameras. So folks could even donate by blinds or anything, right?
Yep. And my contact information is also on the website. It has my email and phone number on there. And we're also on Facebook and Instagram under Camp Hero Kentucky. So if you wanted to go on there and, you know, just check out pictures of what we're doing, what we've done, and then reach out to me through there via, you know, Messenger or
say, hey, what's a specific need you need right now? And
exactly.
They can try to supply
or
it.
say, hey, I've got extra of these. Can you guys use it? And, you know, and we'll take it. It doesn't have to be all money. I mean, there's, you know, a lot of stuff that we can do. And even if we can't use it, like if there's something, we can find a way for that someone else can need it. Yeah.
Right. Well, that's awesome. It's not every day. Obviously, as you stated before, this is about maybe the second that in the whole state that does something like what you're doing. So it's very commendable, and I greatly appreciate it as a law enforcement officer myself. Yourself, we struggle mentally and physically with a lot of things, and just being able to get out here to decompress and just enjoy nature. So I know Camp Hero itself here, you said it's 160 acres. How much property do you have total leased and that you can put hunters on?
We leased another 1,700 acres. So over 1,900 acres that we can put hunters on. And that's not including the Daniel Boone National Forest, which is also public ground.
That you could hunt.
That you can hunt on. And there's tens of thousands of acres of that surrounding our leased property.
Awesome.